not gonna say it. Somebody should. Let's talk about two times. Let's talk about bum wine, yeah. You're asking the questions.
Ta-na-na-na.
Like where the both of them, are they in harmony? Help for Snowman.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to the show. We have a show for you today. As some of you may have read previously on something you may have read, I wrote a quick blog about a gift that I bought for Poonmaster Flex. Now, this gift was questionable. I think the title may have been like The Most Dangerous Gift. And I'm not referring to a GIF that you see it and then a week later you die. I'm referring to a gift. And this gift was, we were watching The X-Files a while back. And one thing The X-Files did really well was be in shitty motels. Which makes sense. That's very authentic in my mind, because I'm like, yeah, I guess if you were in the FBI in the 90s, you'd probably be in some real shithole hotels, especially being Mulder and Scully, because they would be, they weren't in like, we got another case in San Francisco, in the nice neighborhood here. It was like, instead of being in the Full House neighborhood or the Family Matters neighborhood, they would be in the Corner Gas neighborhood. Is that a thing? Trailer Park Boys neighborhood? So it was very fitting. One of the things they had in one of the hotel rooms was magic fingers, which is a thing that you put a quarter into a console next to the bed and it vibrates the bed. Which, we were watching and she was like, is that real? What's that? What is this? And so I was telling her about it and she's like, I want to try this. And at the time I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get her this for Christmas because we can't travel anywhere. So we won't find it. I don't even know if they still offer this places. Probably. But anywhere that offers it, I'm afraid it's probably been there since, 1984. So, anything that's been in a hotel for like 10 years, I would think is pretty much donezo. Probably, I would just expect it to... You open up the side to retrieve the quarters, and out comes a tidal wave of semen with roaches surfing on each other. But I ordered one anyway and got it. It came very late. And I called it the most dangerous gift because I really was like, this is either going to go over well or... Now, this is either going to go over as a meh or like a... Why did you do this? I'm not happy. And it was probably closer to the second. So it's been sitting on our kitchen counter area for like a month, I'm embarrassed to say. And finally today I had some time to clean it up. I opened the interior because I was like, all right, let's see. How many bed bugs did I bring into our house? But it looked fine. It was relatively clean, I suppose. So now I've got it set up, and I'm about to put a quarter. She was like, can you make sure not... She did not want it on the bed that we sleep in. She was like, can you set this up somewhere else and give that a try? So I'm going to set it up on my bed. But here we go. I'm going to put quarters in this. Let's see if it goes. Nothing happened. Should I try another quarter? Nothing. Fuck. I don't know if this works or if I have not done it properly. Because it could easily be either. You can see it here if you're watching on the video. It's the genuine magic fingers. Try it, you'll like it. If not operating, please check wall plug and or wall switch. All right? I'll do that, Magic Fingers. So it's got like this vibrator that plugs into what I assume the quarter thing. And then the quarter thing plugs into the wall. I assume that's how this works, but I could be wrong. Well, shit. In hindsight, though, I was thinking, what are you going to do if that does turn on? Here's how dumb I am. First, I was dumb because I was like, I'm going to do this on the show. Then I was dumb because I thought, oh shit, well that's going to start and then it goes for 15 minutes. So it'll just be a in the background for 15 minutes of this show. Then I was like, idiot, you could just unplug it when you're done testing it out. So that was like 3 layers of stupid that we just went through there. So congratulations for being part of that. Today, I found out about this thing where Google tracks your ad settings on everything. So I guess you can turn it off and stuff. And it's a mixed bag, is my understanding. That okay, you can turn off your ad personalization, but that doesn't mean you don't get ads. It just means that you get random kind of stuff. Or you can have it on and then you get stuff that you might actually make use of or want. And I have mixed feelings about that. I also feel that, they're serving me better ads, which is probably good, but they're probably also using this data to do other things, which they should pay me for, right? Like, that shouldn't just be a thing that happens. That should be something they do at cost. They should be paying me as a user to use my shit. Anyway, let's take a look, shall we? My stuff that it says I am. Well, it's got my age within a 9-year age range, which feels like Google just showing off, by the way. I'm like, you couldn't do a 10-year age range? It's like it wants to trick you. It's like that thing at the carnival where they're like, well, guess your birth month. And it's like within 3 months on either side. So then you're like, well, if it's 3 months on either side, then you add the month, that's 7 months. So you have a better than random chance. Just any guess has a better than 50-50. And then if you go by that logic as well, it's like, well, all right, then if you pick consistently between like the 2 or 3 months that have the most births, you're almost guaranteed to never lose. Nice try, Carnival. It knows that I'm male. The next thing that's listed is Redbubble. I have several shirts for sale on Redbubble. I don't know did we talk about this at all on here? I just, for some reason, decided like, I'm just going to make shirts about stuff. I'm going to just make kind of whatever shirt I fucking feel like making. So a bunch of them have mature content. So, of course, we've got the 4 Dougmen of the Dougpocalypse. We've got a Beer Rock and Roll Place t-shirt from the Agent Cold Beer book. I made a fake bread shop called Pete's Dill Doughs. So that's DILLDOUGHS. You get where that's coming from. That's a pretty easy one. Sorry, everybody. I've got one about the mountains that kind of just looks like like a nature shirt, and it says mountains, they're just uphill, or they're just woods at an angle. That is how I feel about the mountains in general. They're just woods at an angle. It's not that special. The mountains are cooler to look at from a distance than to actually be in. Because when you're in them, it doesn't feel interesting. There are the lyrics to the theme song for this show. The original theme song, Life's Not Like Flan. There's a Periscope Beers t-shirt. There's I took one of my reviews from Amazon and made it into a t-shirt. Let's see, I don't know if this will have enough quality that I can see, but I bet it will. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. 1 star, get this off the store. WTF, WTF, WTF. If you are reading this comment, you are the most screwed up person ever. Which, by the way, if you're reading this comment, well, so that could be anyone reading the comment? That doesn't seem fair. I can't believe anyone would write such a useless piece of crap. I was looking to see if anyone preserved the Nintendo Power magazines, and this piece of excrement comes up. WTS, what the shit? Screw the person who write this book, what the crap. So you can get that on a t-shirt. There's the sweatshirt that says Soccer Mom. As you may remember, one time I visited my uncle, John, and he was wearing a purple sweatshirt that said Soccer Mom across it. He got that from the secondhand store, if you can believe it. There's one that says Life's Not Like, and then there's a picture of Flan, and then there's one that says Pete Peeves. Because, that was a thing that I tried for like 2 seconds. There's also, I did a redo of the Life's Not Like Flan, so there's 2 versions of that. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it? Anyway, that's why I'm interested in Redbubble. I'm not so much interested in Redbubble as I am in other people being interested in Redbubble on my behalf. Let's see, I've got action adventure films. I guess that's accurate. I've typed the word Demolition Man into the internet probably more than anyone has ever typed the word Demolition Man, phrase, title into the internet. I don't think anyone could match me on that. Action and platform games? Sure. And adventure games as well. I mean, I played some, the game Doom from like the 90s. It was fun. It was, it's fun for a while, and then it turns into it's a little bit like, you get to some stages where it's like, I don't know how you're really supposed to finish this without just like brute forcing your way through every little thing for like an hour. And that is so boring. Now I've switched to Duke Nukem and it's much worse. Beauty and fitness. I like how those two go together. Because I'm like, well, I guess I'm interested in fitness of a type. But beauty is really not a part of that for me. I'm trying to grow a power belly here. Or as Poonmaster Flex calls it, a power tummy. And so I don't know, is that beauty? Is that like that meme about like this is what the alpha prime, a man in his prime looks like or something? Books and literature, sure. It seems like a wide topic, but okay. Business news. No. I don't want to say anti-business news, but if someone was like, you could read a business newspaper on the toilet, I would probably say okay and then flip through it and hope they forgot to take out the comics. Business services, I don't even know what that is. I'm a business service. Like a janitor, I don't even know. Maybe that's because I have an LLC. I've gotten many offers for Helpful Snowman. Here's what I've primarily gained from making this an LLC this year, by the way. Number 1, I got scammed. Well, I didn't get scammed. They tried to scam me. What companies will do, they will send you letters that basically say, if you don't hang these HR posters in your workplace, you could be in deep shit. Like, you might get sued. All these things are going to happen to you. And I looked it up, and that's total bullshit. But also, I'm the only one here. So who am I going to sue and for what? But also, I had to laugh because my workplace, my 9 to 5, definitely has these posters. The second thing I get is offers from insurance companies for various things. I don't even know what it is. I don't even open them. Because again, I'm like, well, I don't know what you're going to insure. I have renter's insurance now because Poonmaster Flex has renter's insurance. And she was like, have you ever had renter's insurance? And I was like, no, and I'll tell you why. I remember thinking about it once because it's really cheap. But then I was like, I mean, what do I even have that I would, I was looking around my apartment and like, this Xbox is by far the most expensive thing in this apartment. And it's like $200, $250. So in a year, I've probably already outspent. Now, I'm sure renter's insurance probably helps if you like accidentally burn down the whole building or something, but the rich get richer, right? The other one I get is offers for business credit cards, which I'm like, I think that these offers are kind of like the offers that I would get on Frontier Airlines, which, had the genius plan of they're like, we have a credit card. We have a couple hundred people on this fucking plane who can't go anywhere. And why don't we make our pitch for it right before we land? So everyone's stuck in their seat. You got nothing to do. And we'll tell them about your card. And Pete applied for this card and was turned down. So there you go. I feel like they're making a pitch to just any LLC, but not a good one. Not a good use of your time. Next is casual games. I've never really understood. I think casual games is like games for people who didn't used to play games, but now will play variations of Candy Crush, right? For some reason, that's a casual game. But I'm not really sure what that term means or why it exists, but it does. All I know is that it does. Cats, that's a big check. Cats is basically the only reason I'm on Instagram anymore. I like to watch videos of cats. I think I've made this abundantly clear to Instagram's algorithms, so we're getting along well right now. But here's what's weird. You'll be scrolling through like recommended, here's a bunch of cat videos in the sort of explore mode. And then I'll get like a quick beauty video. Or like it's usually a young woman of color dancing in some form that I assume is a known dance among people who know anything about dance, but I know nothing about dance. So to me, it's like, all right, whatever. And I don't know if this is because like people I follow watch this, or if this is like Instagram is like, well, surely you must like something other than cats. And I'm like, no, not really. Celebrities and entertainment news. I guess if the definition of celebrity extends to like Henry Stephen Keeler, then sure. I was writing a column and mentioned this guy. He's a author who, let me see if I can find this little blurb. But, one thing he did in a book was he revealed it was a mystery, and he revealed the murderer in the final sentence of the book, and that was also when he revealed who this character had never shown up in the book until the final sentence. So you're reading a mystery, trying to figure out who done it, and you're like, oh, I never would have figured it out because this person has not been in the book up to now. Here we go. Here's a description. A man is found strangled to death in the middle of a lawn, yet there are no footprints other than his own. Police suspect the flying strangler baby, a killer midget who disguises himself as a baby and stalks his victims by helicopter. I guess tiny helicopter? I don't know. So if that's a celebrity, sure. Classical music? Fuck no. I just looked up today, you know how there's that thing of like play classical music for your baby? Turns out that's Total horseshit. Even the person who did the original study was like, we did a very small study and we had adults do cognitive tasks, and we had a group listening to classical music and a group that wasn't, and this group's performed slightly better and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, the way that people have taken this and run with it is, I don't even really understand. So playing classical music for your baby doesn't do anything. Here's the thing. I'm guessing that being the kind of parent who would suffer through the boredom of classical music is probably what allows you to be a good parent. If you're willing to make the sacrifice of, I'm not going to listen to good music, I'm going to listen to classical music for my baby, then fuck it. You're probably a good parent. I think you're ready to make sacrifices. Combat sports. There's like a fist. It's like a black power fist, but turned 90 degrees or something. 90 degrees towards, so the knuckles are coming towards you, I guess. I have no interest in combat sports whatsoever. I think that's just ultimate fighting, right? Is that the only combat sport? Like paintball? Is that considered a combat sport? I'm not interested in either. I got shot with a paintball once when I was in high school. I was just out running for cross-country practice, so I wasn't shooting back. So that may have made it less fun. Maybe it's more fun when you shoot back, but I did not have fun. Comedy films, sure. I mean, sure. Comics. Yeah. And then there's also comics and animation is a separate... I don't know what that is. Comics and animation? Why have comics and animation? I assume there's also an animation. Here, company size. Large employer, 250 to 10K employees. Well, first of all, I think that may be incorrect. But secondly, 250 to 10,000. Again, this is even harder playing the game. That's like, I'm going to put 6 months on either end and then guess the other month. And it's like, so not only would you definitely win, but you have overlap of a month. There's no way for you to lose to the extent that you've even got 1 extra month of coverage. Computer and video games, computer hardware. I have no interest in computer hardware. I do not care. There are things that I care what is inside the thing. I care what's inside the freezer because I fixed the freezer, damn it. I do not care what's inside the computer. That is beyond my... I don't know if it's beyond my means, but I know it's beyond my interest. Computers and electronics. I mean, Google. Literally everyone who's on your service is using computers and electronics. That seems like a freebie. Cooking and recipes. Yes, I do look up a lot of recipes. What is with this cottage industry of... We talked about it on here before, of like, you put a recipe in and you got to put like a fucking 50,000 word essay about your childhood and the wraparound porch at your uncle's house or some shit. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. You know how you could see that? If I was starting a recipe website, I'd be like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the recipe at the top. And then I will have a link to, if you want to read the long bullshit story about it, here you go. It's like that part on the menu at the restaurant that's like, about us. And what you want it to be is their fucking address and phone number, but really it's just well, this restaurant started because someone said, why don't I start a restaurant? If this is a lemonade recipe that survived the Holocaust and your great-grandpa brought it home from Poland to the United States, sure. Feel free. If this is a blueberry crumble recipe that you found somewhere else and slightly adapted using brown sugar instead of white sugar, pass. I will pass. Coupons and discount offers. This is maybe the first one that I'm actively disinterested in. I hate coupons, which sounds dumb, right? Because it's like, you can save money, but I hate them. They're just trash. They're junk mail. And I never use them. I always forget them. If I put them up on the fridge, I'll never remember. And then the coupon pack comes, and Pooh Master Flex likes to save them. So I put them in her mail pile. And then when the next one comes, I replace the previous one with the new one. And that's my relationship with coupons. I've become a filer of coupons. Custom and performance vehicles. No. I mean, if by custom vehicles you mean a 21-year-old Corolla that you replace the spark plugs on, sure. If that counts as customization, sure. Dogs. I don't know if I'm interested in dogs. I like that dogs are around and some of the relationships people have with dogs. But I'm not, like, into dogs. Domestic services, and there's a picture of a plant. I'm going to assume that means hookers. Not interested in hookers. Not interested in the services of hookers. I guess I'd be interested in the sort of lifestyle of a hooker, as far as, like... I mean, what's a Tuesday like? Are there certain days you, like, do you work 5 days a week? Is it an hourly, or are you like, well, if I make this much, then I go home for the night? Like, how does that work? Driving and racing games? No. Absolutely not. You'd be hard pressed to find a game that I'm less interested in. Maybe a sports game. This just says family. Fuck you, family. I'm not interested in you at all. Fast food. I'm interested in Wendy's. But, like, am I interested in Wendy's, or do I just like eating there sometimes? You know, it's like I don't know. I like Twix, but I'm not, like, researching Twix. I'm not trying to make my own Twix. It's just something that, like, if there's 5 candy bars, that's what I'll take, but I would not say I'm, like, interested in Twix. Fitness. That's just a category with a barbell or maybe a dumbbell. Kind of hard to say. They found a graphic designer who was like, I'll split the difference and sort of make it both. Flowers. No. I am not real interested in nature of any kind. So I don't know how that happens. I used to get flowers for my grandma on, like, her birthday. There was, like, a florist near her place, and I would get flowers sent to her. That is the only relationship I have with flowers. Gardening. I was cursed with some potted plants that my mom brought over. I managed to keep them alive, I think, until the fall. And then they completely died, and now I'm like, now what? Now what do I do? I got these huge plots with dirt and dead plants in them. Do I, like, turn it upside down and then the plant grows again? I don't know how that works. I don't care. There was one plant. We had a house plant that Poon Master Flex bought. I don't really like house plants because, it brings fruit flies and shit. And frankly, I feel like the purpose of having a house is to keep the nature outside. So if we bring the nature inside, what are we doing? But anyway, this plant had sort of died, and so she put it in the trash. This was at a time when she was going through some difficult medical things. And so for me, I was like, this was Pete's moment of magical thinking, where I was like, if I can bring this plant back from the brink, I could do anything. I could caretake for a sick person if I can bring a plant back from the dead. And so that's what I did. And that plant is currently thriving in my bathroom. So I guess success. But it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if it feels good or if I'm just like, that's a reminder of when I was very desperate. Gourmet and specialty foods. I've watched Chopped. Does that count? Greeting cards. I am not interested in greeting cards. Actively disinterested. Home and interior decor. I'm interested in that on the level of like, when I have a house, I want to build like a bookshelf shaped like a coffin. I think that would be really cool and not that difficult. That's about the beginning and end, so maybe not specific. Home improvement's the next one, so I think those go hand in hand. Home ownership status. It thinks I'm a homeowner. Sucker. Horror films. Correct. I just told you I want to make a bookshelf coffin, so what else do you need to know? Household income is high. Interesting. That's interesting coming from Google, because I'm not sure, I'm like, I live a comfortable life, but I don't know if I'd call myself high income. I mean, I'm also not a homeowner, so that kind of tells you. I drive a 21-year-old car. I mean, what? Investing? No. Job industry, technology industry? No. I mean, sort of, I guess. Libraries seem to purport themselves as technology, but I don't think I would say working in the library is working in the tech industry. Latin American music. Oh, see, I think what's happened here. There are two bands called Lucero. There is the Pride of Memphis, Tennessee, and then there is a Latin American female singer band called Lucero. I think it's entirely possible that the band that I like is being confused for another band. Local news. I do like the local police blotter. That's always a win. Marital status, single. I guess that's true from a marital status standpoint. You know what you'll find? This is for like the young people listening who there's probably none. But what you'll find is that marital status, there are 3 schools of thought on it. When you're young, everybody's like, who cares? And then people get married and they're like, oh, it's different. But it's not, it doesn't feel different. People will say like, oh, our relationship pretty much feels the same as before we were married. But it's different in terms of like, the rest of your family will acknowledge your relationship, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It's like being married sometimes matters and sometimes it doesn't, but not in the ways you'd expect. Mass merchants and department stores. I guess that means people who sell protein powder. Metal, parentheses, music. In case I couldn't tell from the music note right next to it that it was talking about the type of music, not a material. Maybe I would just think that little music note next to it was made of metal. Mobile phones. I am very disinterested in mobile phones. I do not keep my mobile phone on me ever. I had the same iPhone so long, and I just bought a new one in 2020 because I basically had to. Movie and TV streaming. I mean, sure. That's like saying being alive is somebody's interest. Who's like, I don't stream anything. Fuck you. Also movies, same. Moving and relocation. Well, I guess this is a thing because that's a thing I've done a lot, but I would hate to be reminded of it, Google. I would advise you not to tell me about that because just thinking about it gives me unhappy vibes. Music and audio. I mean, again, who's like, I'm not really into movies and music. As a human, I just don't experience those things. Like, fuck off. News, no. Nintendo, yes. Outdoors? Not really. I think I may be one of the most disinterested in the outdoors people that I've ever known. And this is carried through since I was a youth. I pretty much single-handedly wrecked a hike in Yellowstone when I was a young man, child, maybe. We went to Yellowstone and I was basically like, all right, I'll go, but I'm not hiking. I hate hiking. I won't go hiking. And, my family was like, okay. But then we were going to go hike to a waterfall and I basically complained the whole way. And I think my mom did the all right, fine, we'll turn around and go back. And I felt kind of bad. But, part of it's on me. But come on, when you take a kid to Yellowstone who's hates hiking, just leave him at the hotel. Leave me at the hotel. Well, there was no TV at the hotel where we stayed in Yellowstone, which really bummed my mom out. She's not a big TV person, but at that time we hadn't had cable in forever, and so I think one of the things she was looking forward to, and when you're in Yellowstone, it's all right, you go out, you see the shit, but you come back at night, there's not really much to do other than watch some TV, right? You feel like you earned it some TV that day, because you're in my sick brain, I feel like I have to earn the relaxation of watching TV. So if I've seen Old Faithful today, I can waste some life watching TV. Parental status, not a parent. Correct. But then the next thing says parenting. I don't know what would make this think that I have any interest in parenting whatsoever, but I definitely do not. Performing arts, this is plays and stuff. That was another thing that I almost ruined. My mom took us to a bunch of plays. Now, my brother was very interested in these plays, my older brother, and I was not. And I really embarrassed her one time because I got a Dr. Pepper and opened it in the middle of a Shakespeare play, and everyone could hear it. But I wish I'd had the presence of mind back then to be hey, in the Bard's day, I would have been standing in the front drinking beer and talking loudly. Pet food and pet care supplies. No, I do not care about that. Pets. I mean, that's covered by cats, right? And I'm not into I don't want a snake, guinea pigs, hamsters, gerbils. Any of those things, no thanks. Politics, no. Price comparisons. I mean, I will compare the price of things on Amazon, sure. But I would not say this is of interest to me. I would say this is of practical concern. Maybe that's where this is a little off, but also on. It's I'm not interested in moving or moving Ooh, what kind of dollies do they make? But it is of a practical nature, I suppose. Rap and hip-hop? Not really. I mean, I'm going to start my new rap career as Blast Chiller. But, I don't know. I think that my complete ignoring of the rap and hip-hop community will provide me something unique. It won't be good, because I think that if you try and get into an art and ignore everything that came before, that doesn't give you good results, but it is a unique way to fail. My failure will be complete, total, and novel. Restaurants. Fuck off. Rock music. Sure. Rock music is probably the category of thing that drives me the most crazy, as a librarian. I mean, I remember you'd go into the CD store, and it was the CD store, and you would, they had categories, right? And the rock section just slowly expanded to include anything. Anything that maybe had an electric guitar on it. Or they'd be oh, I don't know, maybe the Beastie Boys should be in the rock section. And I'm are you fucking crazy? Come on. Maybe Fight for Your Right to Party. If you can separate that one track, if you have a single of that, maybe. But I just remember going into a CD store once and seeing Britney Spears and Madonna in the rock section, and I was like, okay, this has gotten out of hand. Like, why even have a section? Just make everything alphabetical A to Z. And then, we can have Metallica next to Madonna, and it makes sense. Role-playing games. There's like a potion bottle. I like the icon. But I'm not particularly interested in that. I think I might get interested in something like a Dungeon and Dragon. The problem I have is I don't like board games that much because I feel like half the thing of learning a board game is like learning the rules and shit. That is not an opportunity I relish. Science fiction and fantasy films. Here's the second thing that drives me crazy from librarian standpoint. Why are science fiction and fantasy together? That makes no sense to me. The only thing I can come up with is like when these genres were becoming big, they were like, well, nerds like both. So let's just pile them together for the convenience of nerds. But like at this point, I think, okay, Lord of the Rings, you got over here, and then you got like a space movie over here. You don't need them together. Lord of the Rings has nothing to do with Ad Astra. Shooter games. I mean, I guess I played Doom. So that's good. That's got a little red target. It's kind of threatening. Shopping. I'm not interested in shopping. Sony PlayStation. I own a Sony PlayStation 2 that is not hooked up. Sports. And sports games is here too. That was the one that I was like, that would be the least interesting thing. We've been watching some Survivor because, we got to watch some trash TV. And like, on some of it, I've enjoyed watching it on a sports adjacent level. I'm like, oh, this is like an athletic competition within this show. I'm enjoying this. And that is the beginning and end of my enjoyment of sports. Strategy games, no. Travel and transportation. I did look up like a light rail map because I wanted to make a light rail bar crawl to go on at some point. Although I'm like, I wonder which bars are still going to, I'm like, is Casa Bonita still going to exist in 2022? I don't know. You could make a strong argument either way, but I can't imagine they're doing amazing business on takeout. Travel agencies and services. You know what is funny about that is I was thinking the other day that I used to think a travel agency was the stupidest thing ever. Because it's like, why? You can just do this yourself. You don't need to get some weird lady who failed at real estate to do it for you. But then I thought, you know what I really want, though? I want to go on vacation, but it's like when you're a kid and you don't plan anything and you don't really, you're not responsible for anything. I mean, if you were a kid and you went on a vacation to like the city, you basically walk out of the hotel. You don't have a wallet. You don't have any money. You don't have any keys. You don't know where the fuck you are. Maybe you brushed your teeth that morning. Maybe not. You know what I mean? And you're just like, I'm free. Whatever. And do you know where you're going? No. Do you know like when your next meal's coming? No. But you don't have to think about it. That's what we all need. Trucks, vans, and SUVs. No. TV comedy. Okay, these are all TV. Comedies, documentary and nonfiction, game shows, networks and stations. TV networks and stations. I can't, that one's the weirdest one. Like, how does that happen? Why would it think I'm very interested in NBC in general? Urban transit, that's kind of travel and transportation, right? Video game development, not really. Visual arts and design, I don't even know what that is. Weights and strength training equipment, yes, that is correct. I am interested in that. If someone wants to send me weights, That would be fine. World music, no. No, that is one of the categories like classical music that I am not interested in. Not interested. Not just because it's from other parts of the world. I'm sure that there are many bands from other parts of the world that I would thoroughly enjoy. The problem is world music is pretty much like a drum circle or something all the time. And I'm like, no. World music is a genre, and it does not mean what you might think it means. Last one is yoga and Pilates. Thoroughly disinterested. I think I'm probably less interested in Pilates than yoga, if that helps you, Google. I kind of want to type some stuff in here and be like, no. And then maybe I can help out. But, maybe this thing too, just, I think Google is like a conspiratorial thing. So I'm like, well, maybe what it does is it gets some things right, but it doesn't get everything totally right. And so that way, when I'm looking at it, I don't get freaked the fuck out. Because it doesn't know, it doesn't say that it knows, my medical history. When really it's like, we know your medical history. Completely, inside and out. Ew. Here's a picture of your colon. Pretty good, huh? We know you drank that entire gallon of juice before and got an A+ rating for cleaning it out. And when I start talking about the colonoscopy adventure, that's usually when it's time to end. So, appreciate y'all for listening today. That was a lot about me and about not me. But, that's really all this show is, right? A flimsy flamework to talk about me. Flamework. Okay, bye.